Stanisław to Products, greetings! In my understanding, there are two most critical and key points in the development and operations of any product. The first is the customer development, which allows us to make products fit for our customers and users. The second one is the unit economy, which allows us to produce products that are necessary for us, for the founders and creators of the product. Today we talk about the basis of product economy, namely metrics. We must be aware and remember that the main goal of launching and developing products is growing, which is an integral part of the business process, not only the products, but of the company as a whole. Building business processes in a company is closely related to business strategy and goal setting. And in turn, goal setting and setting of tasks are unthinkable without following the SMART methodology. So let's remember what the methodology is based and on what pillars does it rest. There are only 5 of them, and they are specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and tangible. One of the key and primary bases are the words specific and measurable. We must use the same methodology and approach in product management to form hypotheses about our products and to form business processes and business objectives. Numbers are the foundation of professional relationship, which business is. And metrics are parameters that allow you to evaluate and measure how valuable a business and its products and how important they are. And also how much today differs from yesterday, how much our products has developed and grown, or it's time for us to make some changes or more efforts to grow it. Metrics help us to distinguish the subjective vision from the objective one. Replace I think with I'm sure, and in turn of confidence, they allow us to make decisions based on really important and meaningful data and current issues. But at the same time, have you ever wondered what kind of world we are in now? Look from outside in your day or even hour. How many notifications do you receive in a short of amount of time? The phone rang with maybe spam on the identifier, and push came from the delivery service. It's your pizza. 4 chats blurred out of the messenger. Someone liked your photo on the social network, an email arrived, and news and weather information were updated on the main page on the search engine. We are overwhelmed by the availability of information. Likewise, businesses and products are overwhelmed by the availability of measurement, data, and in turn, metrics. Therefore, we need to filter and select key metrics to make a decision, to make a most important decision. And this choice depends on the goals of the business and on the stage of development of the product of the company. A metric is an assessment of the performance of the business, a hypothesis, or a decision. Very high metrics, usually based on the scope of something, lead us to vanity rather than understanding the effectiveness of what we are doing. Operational metrics help to assess how well, that is, effectively, we are fulfilling our product's goals. Vanity metrics can be useful for us to have an effect on journalists or loyal users. For example, in this photo of Apple's golden hand, Tim Cook shows cumulative iPhone sales going up. Based on this chart, we can only indirectly judge the result of the company and effectiveness. But if we studied reports on quarterly sales of devices, then we could draw a conclusion about the effectiveness of certain decisions of the company, the adoption of the devices on the market in different periods, and justify certain decisions in the management of the company. Let's look at another example of vanity and operational metrics together. The last few months have been discussion in the tech industry about Elon Musk buying a majority stake of the Twitter service for more than $40 billion from current investors and shareholders. The deal was actively moving forward, but at some point during the detailed review of the company, Musk slowed down the process, and in the end, the deal got every chance of not taking place. What is Elon Musk focusing on the process of buying Twitter? Why doesn't he talk about the size of the user base, about the numbers of registered accounts? The stumbling block is the ratio of live accounts and bot accounts. This is the same operational metric that is of great importance in evaluating the effectiveness of this product and in evaluating the company as a whole. Sometimes the choice of operational metrics is not so obvious to the company itself and its leaders. For example, Microsoft admitted in its report that they initially keep a close eye on the total numbers of sales of their Xbox console relative to competitors, and were happy with their near-fold market dominance. However, the sale of device in itself is not the key revenue activity of the company in this area. Much more revenue comes from the content created and consumed by these devices. Therefore, the company began to focus on another operational metrics of this business, namely the monthly audience of consumers and device users. This way you can get much more conclusion about the effectiveness of outgoing labels, content and subscription sales, and most quickly influence the revenue side of this product. Think about it. Which metrics are operational for you and for your products, and which ones are vanity? It's not only my opinion. Patel said, not all data are helpful. Some of it is worse than worthless, because it tricks us into believing we have answers where we don't. But when you focus on data that helps you to make decisions, everything else in your business gets easier. So, be careful, be focused, be smart, and be healthy.